Hello, hello. Good to see you again. This is part 3 in my Oregon book haul series. I don't know if it's a series. It's a series now because I called it a series. The last time we checked in, I had a spot with no service, so I couldn't look up the books. But today I did find a spot, so that's good. I apologize if the wind is coming through. I'm on the top of a big hill here, and it's quite windy. Anyways, the category for today that I've managed to organize the books into is 20th century American. And we're going to kick it off right away by breaking the rule and going back 3 or 4 years into the 19th century. This is published, just a few years before the turn of the century. So, okay, a slight break in the rules, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. Anyways, this is Sarah, what does that say? Orne, that's a strange middle name. Sarah Orne Jewett, The Country of the Pointed Firs. So Sarah Jewett lived in Maine. She was, I'm not sure if she had a main occupation, just short story writer and novelist. And the literary movement to associate with Jewett is regionalism, okay? So the setting plays a very important role in the story, kind of over the plot or character development, and it's kind of like slice of life, right? She's kind of trying to develop the attitudes and themes and traditions and sort of ambiance of coastal Maine. She also wrote A Country Doctor, which I think is another one that people would know, sort of semi-famous. Anyways, yes. A strange anecdote about Jewett is that she was a Swedenborgian, which, if you're not familiar, Emanuel Swedenborg was a 17th, 18th century Swedish Neoplatonist, kind of Gnostic occultist kind of guy. He heavily influenced William Blake as well, and kind of strange to see that popping up here. Anyways, yeah. Maine, Sarah Jewett, Country of the Pointed Firs. Next up, we've got a debut novel by none other than Mr. Thomas Pynchon, and that is V. Okay, or 5, I'm not sure what the intent was there. In terms of plot, this is, the problem with these like modernist novels is that they don't really have like a normal plot arc of like problem, conflict resolution. Like, it doesn't really have that. It's kind of just like random stuff that's going on. There's this guy, okay, he becomes part of this like bohemian club. I forget what the club is called, some sort of like weird name. Anyways, and he has some hints that there's this thing that exists called V, and he's got to find it. I don't really know. I'm sorry, I can't give a proper summary. But yeah, Thomas Pynchon, quintessentially American, pretty famous. Yeah. Oh, one more anecdote about Pynchon. Apparently, he took lectures by Nabokov while he was in university, and later, Nabokov was like, oh yeah, sorry, I don't remember him. But Nabokov's wife, Vera, was helping mark some of the assignments. Not sure if that's allowed, but anyways. And she said she remembered his handwriting, because it was half type, or what's it called when you just write but don't do cursive? Anyways, cursive was mixed in with non-cursive. So yeah, kind of an interesting little factoid there. Anyways, next up we've got so I just finished reading The Oregon Trail, which is sort of a journal of a guy who goes and explores Oregon, kind of in the mid-19th century. So again, this would be a violation of our 20th century American theme, so we're not doing too well on the theme so far, but it'll get better, I promise. And I actually really liked The Oregon Trail. That was good. So I saw this at the bookstore, and it looked like pretty thematically similar, and that is John Wesley Powell's The Exploration of the Colorado River and its Canyons. So that would include the Grand Canyon as well. So yeah, just kind of like a travel journal. Powell was an American geologist, and he also was a major in the Civil War, so kind of a bit of a polymath. But yeah, kind of a rugged outdoorsy guy. He led the expedition, and yeah, kind of cool. Maybe, I guess, I'm in Oregon now, and I read The Oregon Trail. So before I read this one, maybe I should travel to Colorado and then read this in Colorado. That would be... And then I can christen it with dirt like I did at The Oregon Trail. Anyways, next up, we've got a famous novel by John Steinbeck, pretty short. It's Cannery Row. This is 20th century, okay? So we're back on theme. And what is this? Again, remember with Jewett, we talked about regionalism and kind of slice of life. This is the exact same thing, sort of same genre. This time, it's not Maine, it's California, in this place that's now called Cannery Row after the book. The reason it's named Cannery Row is because it's set in this place where they're packaging sardines, and there's a bunch of sardine packing plants, like all in the same spot on the coast, and so it's called like Cannery Row. And yeah, not really much plot, but just kind of like kind of describing the location and the scene and what it's like to live there. And I think, oh yeah, there's a giant coffee mug stain on the front of this book, so it's well lived in. Next up, we've got some Hemingway, the Nick Adams stories. Okay, so apparently, this is published 10 years posthumously, and apparently throughout his life, he published a bunch of different stories about a guy named Nick Adams, who's like this fake character he made up. And so someone's collated or combined them all into one volume and published all of them together. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Next up, we got a couple by none other than William Faulkner. First up, The Unvanquished. This is set during the Civil War. Again, in terms of plot, I'm not really too sure what's going on with this one. I think it's a coming-of-age novel, perhaps. Other than that, not really too sure. Interesting anecdote about Faulkner. Actually, his name originally was spelt without the U. It was Faulkner. But early on in his career, a typesetter, you know, back then they had like metal cast type on the printing press, kind of messed up his name and put the U in. And then the publisher was like, hey, you want this fixed? And he's like, I don't really care. You can put it in. And then it just became Faulkner. So, interesting. Maybe that's urban legend. Maybe that's a myth, but I like it. And then next up, something more famous, because The Unvanquished isn't really one of his well-known works, but I also have here Light in August, which is, yeah, much more famous. What is it about? Sorry. Again, I have to read it. I'm not really too sure. Yeah. And there's no summary on the back, so that's unfortunate. Okay, next up, we've got a book that apparently is pretty hot on Book Talk, okay? Now, you probably have some ideas as soon as I said that of what it is, but I'll let you guess, okay? Lock in your guess. It's Stoner by John Williams. Maybe I'll be a contrarian and not read this and just have it on the shelf. What is it about? It's about a guy who is from a poor family who falls in love with literature. So in some sense, it's kind of relatable to a lot of the people who would be even reading the book. So maybe it's too meta for me, though. I don't know. And then he kind of just has like a hard life. Everything just goes wrong for him. He becomes a literature professor at some university, and yeah, has a frigid wife and a sad life. Anyways, yeah. Last up, we'll finish up with some poetry. We've got two volumes here, one tiny, one massive. The tiny one is some selected poems from Robinson Jeffers. Not really too sure much about his life. I know he was classically trained, Greek and Latin. He wrote some good poems, and I don't think he did much else, to be honest. Yeah, I'll get around to this eventually. That was a bit rude. Maybe he's really good, and I just kind of brushed him off. And then lastly, we have a very thick collected poems from W.H. Auden or Auden, not too sure. There he is on the front there, giant portrait. What is he famous for? He just wrote poems, I think, not novels, and obviously was very prolific, as we can see. But I don't know if like any of his works kind of entered like the common collective consciousness or the common verbiage. But still considered perhaps Western canon. But yeah, I don't know. I think I got it cheap. That's why I bought it. But I don't really have strong feelings towards Auden or Jeffers at this point, anyways. That's it for today's stack. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I've got quite a few more stacks coming. So like and subscribe.